661,000 jobs added to the economy last month. As of October 1st, unemployment dipped from 8.4% to 7.9%, which is good. More than half the jobs in March and April have now been recovered. That's pretty impressive. More than half the jobs in March and April have now been recovered. That still remains 10.7 million jobs that had a job before the pandemic, still don't have one. At the current rate, it would take another 16 months for things to get back to pandemic levels. Thoughts?
Okay, I think these are the easiest stats to manipulate right now in an election cycle because, A, there's going to be a lot more numbers added to that unemployment because of what just happened with the airlines and in the banking. And there's just a lot of layoffs in the last couple of weeks. The other thing, too, is how many of these people, and I believe there's a lot out there, that are still cool not going back to work because they're making enough money on unemployment or making more money.
I think so as well.
And I've talked to a lot of those people. You run into them, and it's still an issue. So I think this is one of those things where, hey, we're 3-4 weeks away from an election. They're going to use it however they want. I mean, that is encouraging. It's the lowest level of unemployment since the beginning of the pandemic. So hopefully it continues. But I think let's find out where we are in December based on the result of the election.
Well, you said you spoke to some people that
would prefer not to go back to work because they're making more money collecting unemployment.
Well, that was true at one point up until because obviously there was the state unemployment that on average is like $350, and then you had the federal unemployment that kicked in, and they were giving everybody $600 a week. 2/3 of people who were unemployed were getting paid more to stay home than to go to work. Cool, but that ended. There's been no stimulus deal in sight. That thing's gone back and forth and starting and restarting. We'll see where that goes. So agreed, people were getting paid to stay home more at one point. That is not the case right now. People need to be looking for jobs. I mean, people need to pivot. There's going to be some jobs, like these movie theater jobs, that might not ever come back. Certain industries that might not ever come back. You brought up something last podcast. You said how many jobs have been created in the last 200 years? It was like 1 billion jobs.
3 billion jobs.
3 billion jobs. Yeah, I underplayed that one. 3 billion jobs. So if we've learned anything during this pandemic, we thought everything's going to hell, nothing's going to happen. Certain businesses are booming, right? Zoom, all-time highs.
Yeah.
Fiverr, all-time high. I think certain industries, all-time high.
Yeah.
Things are going to change. You just got to pivot careers if you need to.
I think the conversation with your kids need to start now. Meaning, you know how parents talk to their kids and they say, hey, like I'm Armenian, Assyrian, Middle Eastern. When you grow up, you're going to be one of 3 things. You're either going to be an engineer, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. It's that simple. That's what it is.
They literally would tell you that?
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do.
And would you disappoint them if you didn't go that path?
That's exactly what it is. Listen, till today, even my mother till today asks, when are you going to get a college degree? I'm like, Mom, never is the answer.
Mom, I'm doing okay.
I'm never going to get a college degree, right? But this is where I'm going with this. I think it's the bigger topic. You know how you have parents are going to have a few different topics with their kids. What's one of the topics? Sex. How are babies born? Okay. And I
leave that to the wife, by the way.
You leave that to the wife? I had it very early. Tico and Dylan, he was 4 and 6. I sat him down. I said, we were all naked in the shower. I said, we all have danglings. Okay, that's what we have. I said, that dangling is going to be your favorite toy for the rest of your life. I said, that is your toy. That is nobody else's toy. One day, you're going to find a female friend that's going to help you play with that toy. But that is yours, okay? You don't play with his. I don't play with his. You play with yours. You can touch yours. You can do whatever you want to do with yours.
You had this conversation when they were 4 and 6?
4 and 6 years old.
Wow.
Like I said, I leave that to my wife.
But let me explain to you why. Because, you have kids coming over and girls are over and they're like, curious and they're touching each other and all this other. You have to have these conversations very early. And quite frankly, nowadays, with everything that's going on, if you don't teach your kids about a person coming to your kids and saying, hey, this is a secret between me and you. No one's going to know our little secret. I'm going to give you this candy. If you don't have these conversations, let me tell you, somebody
You're
else...
thinking of worst case scenario.
You have to have these conversations with the kids. And then you indirectly can talk about babies being born. You have to have these conversations with your kids, right? And as I'm doing this, there's the drug conversation, okay? I've had the alcohol conversation with my kids. My kid, every single time, we had one of our friends that had an alcohol problem, and I had to take this friend to rehab, all this other stuff, and another friend had to go bail him out. Multiple friends had to bail him out from jail because of drug issues and alcohol issues. This has happened my entire life. Everybody has a friend that they've gone through drug. And I'll tell them, I said, do you know who our president is? Yes, who's our president? Donald Trump. Do you know what happened to his older brother? No, Daddy, what happened to him? His older brother died. How did he die? He was an alcoholic. He drank alcohol? Yes, he drank alcohol. He died from drinking alcohol? Yes. Do you know Dylan, till today, every time he sees somebody drinking alcohol, you know what's the first thing he says? He says, "Are you drinking alcohol?" Yes. "Did you know President Trump's older brother died from alcohol?" He says it till today, okay?
Amazing.
Till today he says it.
Public service
Now watch
announcement.
what happens. The other day, Dylan says, "Daddy, the other day friends were over. They opened that one closet. We have a lot of alcohol. What do we have all that alcohol for? I don't see you drinking it. Why do we have it?" Tico says, "Because alcohol is good when you bleed. You put alcohol on your wound."
Give me a little rum and vodka over
I
here.
love the fact that Tico saved the day. So then we talk about drugs. We
Yeah.
talk about a lot of drugs. And why do people use drugs? My kids are 5, 6 years old. I'm having these conversations with them. I think the one conversation parents need to start having with their kids is about their careers. And I think it needs to start very early. Meaning, son, think about being a coder. Think about predictive analytics. Think about data. Think about skill sets that are needed today. Think about hard skills. Soft skills are hardcore needed. You got to teach your kids how to lead, respect, improve, love, all of that stuff. But you got to teach your kids some real good direction to go into. Engineer is the way to go today. Not lawyer or doctor. It's engineer. It's how are you going to go be a person that knows coding, a person that knows analytics, a person that knows things like that. I understand the part where people say, well, my kid is an art person. She wants to go to fine arts. I totally get it. I don't say you have full control about what your kids are going to do. My parents could have told me whatever they could have told me. I ended up selling insurance. I guarantee you, never in my life have my mom and dad sat me down and saying, son, one day you have to sell insurance because that's the way to go. You know. So all I'm saying is these 661,000 jobs that are lost and we're getting them back and gradually we're going back up. Parents have to talk to their kids about what the future looks like with another pandemic that comes down because the standard's been set. The next president, when a pandemic comes, has to shut down everything. And when they do, if you don't learn from this mistake, we learned which industries took the biggest hit, we're going to pay the price again. So families have to make the adjustments themselves. I think that's what needs to take
Here's
place.
my question to the both of you, because you have a daughter who's what, 14?
Yes.
Son, 10,
11.
11, studs, little skater. Your kids are
Dash.
8, 6, and
8,
3,
7,
4?
and 4.
Okay. Totally understand like the sexual conversation with the boys, the alcohol. I assume you let Jen have the conversation with your daughter, Senna. I assume you don't have that conversation with her. I don't know. But the business conversation, what's the appropriate age that you should speak to your kids? Like for me, I don't have kids, so this is just being presumptuous. 4, 6, 8 might be a little early.
Because I don't talk to him about being an engineer. I mean, I think from you're wired differently. Some people are just wired. Like if someone had told me to be an engineer, I would have been unemployed the rest of my life. I just wouldn't have been able to figure it out. It was my brain just doesn't work that way. I just try to encourage them in what they're good at, support them, and they're finding their own. I have also a 22-year-old daughter. Cum laude from Pepperdine, who's now a teacher. She's going to be a teacher, so she's student teaching. So you kind of let them follow their own paths, but support them. But yeah, communication 24/7 for us. That's what we do.
Just so you know, I'm 100% where Tom's at.
Yeah.
I'm 100% where Tom's at because I have 3 kids. Each of them have different strengths and different interests, completely different interests. But if I notice Tom likes the camera today, guess what? Media is not a bad route to go. Today. You know why? What did we learn during the pandemic with media? Media blew up.
Right.
Media blew up. Why? What's the first place we went to get the news?
Yeah.
Media.
People need information.
But you still can help steer in some kind of a direction and avoid certain things that are just not going to be happening, unless if they're going to find a way to disrupt. So, for example, I'd say this is the conversation I have with the kids, and say, Tico, I'll say, so what do you like about video games? I like this about video games. I'd say, so Tico, how would you change this video game to make it better? And he'll say, you know what I would do? I would add this, and I would add that, and I would add this, and I would add this to it. That's great. How would you change this? I would do that, and I would do this. Everything goes to, tell me how you would improve this. Okay, hey, by the way, just so you know, newspapers are taking a big hit. This and they're taking a big hit. What would you do to change that? They give you that feedback, and you get them thinking about certain industries to go into.
I'll say one thing that I had no clue what I was going to be. I know my.
You got a video you want to show us?
Well, I want to send it to Kai.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
By the way, do a drop.
Then, right?
Do an airdrop. See if you can pick it up with an airdrop.
Is that dash skating?
Well, this is my Dash. I was going to see if this is bad advice. Can I tell Dash to be a pro skateboarder? He's only been skating since December.
First
Kai,
of all,
can you grab
guys, this guy's going to be a model. Forget about this.
He's going to be a model.
Side. He's going to be on the cover of magazine. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that one thing my dad would always tell me is like sales. son, you got to be in sales. No matter what it is, you got to be in sales. You got to be in sales. My mom, on the other hand, zero business savvy. She would say, whatever you end up doing, just be the best version of yourself. Do whatever you want. You can be a garbage man, be the best. You know how your mom constantly tells you to go to school? My mom to this day still tells me, I thought you were going to be a rabbi. Why didn't you become a rabbi? I'm like, Mom, I don't even go to temple. I'm not into that. You can be such a good rabbi. My people listen to you. They like. I'm like, Mom, the rabbi thing's done. It's not happening.
Does she watch the podcast?
She will. She'll probably see this, but she's going to be very upset that I'm still. She thinks I'm a rabbi.
Just so you know, Mom, I'm also disappointed he's not a rabbi. I've been working on it for the longest. Heartbroken when we couldn't get him to be a rabbi.
But Mom, the good thing is he acts like one all the time, so that's good.
That's
very well
behaved. Popcorn when he gets the popcorn. But go ahead.
But just
Mom's gonna ask you, what is the popcorn?
I think something that I've learned is that, again, I don't have kids, but all my best friends have kids and whatever. I think when you're young, you start wide, right? And then you have to, at some point, use the funnel system. So being a jack of all trades when you're 10, 12, 15, 20 is fine. But you need to hone in. You need to have a specific skill set. You need to be a specialist. I've heard you mention this a lot. Specialist over a generalist, right?
Yeah.
Jack of all trades doesn't cut it anymore. You have to be good at one thing. And then once you're great at one thing, you can branch out from there.
And I stress, just be serious about it. If there's something that you're passionate, you're good about, you just got to be serious about it and attack it,
Very good feedback.